All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to KREM 2 News at noon on this Friday. It is good. We're inching toward the weekend. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin with a big announcement. Taking a live look at the Spokane Arena. That's where I was this morning as they announced a really big performance coming to Spokane. Paul McCartney will perform here at the end of April. Not only is he coming to the Lilac City, he is actually kicking off his North American tour right here in the Inland Northwest. This is a big deal for music fans, but also for tourism and the local economy.
I think it's kind of symbolic of everybody emerging out of this, right? It's the governor dropping the mandates yesterday, and then today with this announcement and having the concert. We don't have to wait for this, right? This is a month and a half away from now, and so it's coming up quickly, and it's great timing, and it's
coming up fast. Paul McCartney will play at the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena coming up on April 28th. By the way, tickets will go on sale coming up next week, and they will begin at $40 and go much, much higher the closer you get. Okay. Certainly a big announcement, Michelle, and you could tell looking at the shot of the arena just how beautiful it is out there today. In fact, my photographer and I, we just stopped for a few minutes and stood in the sunshine. It was so nice.
Yeah, and so now I have to be the bearer of bad news. And we were just talking about April, and so lots of folks' thoughts are about spring. And of course, it's really felt like spring several days over the last week, but a big change is on the way that you are certainly going to notice. This temperatures this weekend, not too bad, seasonably cold in the 40s, but take a look at the temperature trend for next week. Those are not forecast high temperatures or low temperatures. Those are forecast highs. So we're going to go from highs in the upper 40s to near 50 today to highs only in the 20s, lower 20s by next Tuesday. And if the high is 22, you can imagine where there's overnight and low temperatures are going to be. So just giving you a big heads up, don't put those jackets away and be prepared for wintry weather's return. Outside right now, not too bad at all. We got some sunshine, 44 degrees in Spokane, 46 in Coeur d'Alene, in the 50s in Othello and in Pullman at the noon hour. And take a look at satellite and radar. No precipitation shown up yet, though we do expect a little bit of wet weather for this upcoming weekend. Enjoy the sunshine for today. Here's a look at the next 12 hours. It's going to be out tonight. Weather's going to be pretty quiet. Temperatures dropping into the 30s this evening. A little bit of rain and snow on the way starting late Saturday, and then a little bit for Sunday. High temperatures, though, still staying in the 40s, but again, big cool down for next week.
And now we have changes that will allow us in the next several weeks to take the next step forward into regaining what we consider a much more normal life.
602 days. That is how long it's been since the first indoor mask mandate in Washington was announced. Governor Jay Inslee, of course, announcing the indoor mask mandate will be ending. That is coming up March 21st. The outdoor mask mandate also ends, but that ends today. In his briefing yesterday, the governor pointed out that while cases are dropping dramatically, hospitalizations do remain high across Washington state. But he says he is confident that by March 21st, we'll be in a position to no longer require masks to be worn in most indoor settings. So here's really what that means. Masks will no longer be required, at least by the state, in places like public buildings, restaurants, K-12 schools, places of worship, gyms, and at the supermarket. However, private businesses can still require masks if they do choose so. They just won't be required by the state. The governor and the state superintendent of public instruction thanked everyone in Washington for getting us to this point.
We are in a position to be able to make this progress because people have been careful, have by and large followed our mandates, and have been responsible, and have most Washingtonians have got vaccinated as well. This is what has allowed us to be in this position to reduce these mask mandates.
We had 1.53 million children nationwide were not in in-person learning. From the 5-year-old to the 105-year-old, everybody had a part in a shared responsibility to each other. It involved face covering and distancing and hygiene and in some cases closures. The impacts have been broad, but we also became a state that rapidly addressed this in ways the country was envious of. Half the hospitalization rate per 100,000, half of the loss of life per 100,000.
All right, there are exceptions to this new announcement. Masks will still be required in certain settings. And here's those settings. Here's what we're talking about. Healthcare and medical facilities, people will still need to wear masks. Long-term care settings, public transit, taxis, rideshare vehicles, school buses, and correctional facilities. Now, once the mask mandate ends, that will of course mean local businesses will no longer need to enforce folks to be wearing their masks. Nicole Hernandez, however, spoke with some business owners, not everyone happy about the change and concerned about how it will indeed affect them.
Yes, so I talked to several business owners yesterday, and most of them would not go on camera, but a lot of them had the same feelings. They were tired of trying to enforce the mask mandate and lose business over it. But we did talk with the owner of Rejuvenate here, and she was one that continually enforced the mask mandate, making sure anyone that walked through these doors had a mask on.
It's been kind of hard because I'm here by myself, so I don't have any support. And people would come in and they would verbally abuse me. They would threaten me. They would say obscenities to me. One lady had me backed up against the counter with her chest on my chest, videotaping. All right, how are you doing today?
Robin says confrontation over masks happens all day, every day. She says she's been called names and people have even made death threats. On top of that, the businesses that require masks end up losing customers too. That's why several business owners we talked to have given up on enforcing the mandate. For a small business, losing customers can be detrimental. For the businesses that are still requiring masks, there's a mix of emotions after this announcement.
I feel mixed. I have a lot of people who come and shop here and feel safe, and I want them to continue to feel safe shopping here.
So we talked to another worker who's worked at several different local businesses enforcing the mask mandate over the past 2 years. She says while she still feels safer wearing her mask, she's a little bit relieved that she won't have to deal with angry customers anymore. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
All right, this mask mandate also means students in Washington State will be able to attend class this spring without a mask beginning on March 21st. Masks have been required since students went back into the classroom during the 2020-2021 school year. Additional guidance from the state for schools will be coming out the week of March 7th to give more time for districts to prepare for the transition to optional mask usage. Schools must still report cases and outbreaks throughout the state. Staff and students showing COVID-19 symptoms will still be required to quarantine. Testing will also be in place for students and staff who have symptoms or who have been exposed. The superintendent of Eastern Washington School District 101, Michael Dunn, says the announcement is certainly a sign of hope.
While I might personally wish that it was a little bit sooner, I also appreciate that they're likely looking at the modeling of when COVID will really be at a safe enough level. And I think that it is, really pretty close in time.
KREM 2 also talked to parents at Mullen Road Elementary about their thoughts on this news.
I was hoping maybe just kind of finish out the year, but so I guess we'll hope, we just kind of hope it goes well. Given the data from other areas that have dropped mask mandates or never had them, I'm not too optimistic about it.
So different feelings from lots of different folks. We also received the letter that Spokane Public School District sent to families. It reads in part, as in the past, we ask that all students and staff follow health and safety protocols. SPS will continue to follow the guidance of public health officials and will provide updates to staff and families whenever changes are made. We also received a statement from the Meade School District saying the change will be met with differing opinions and responses and that they will work to ensure a smooth transition. All right, also happening today, Governor Inslee is expected to visit Spokane today to talk about a variety of topics, including transportation, climate priorities, and affordable housing. Inslee will tour the Division Street corridor, learning more about the $50 million Division Street Bus Rapid Transit project that will be funded by the Move Ahead Washington package. The governor is then meeting with Gonzaga students to talk climate priorities. Then he'll tour the Highland Village Affordable Housing Project in Airway Heights, so a full day there. If you'd like to read more about the governor's decision to drop the mask mandate, just text the word mask to our text line 509-448-2000. We'll send a link right to your phone.